The Atlanta Braves are your World Series champions of 2021 as Atlanta brings home their first Commissioner's Trophy since 1995, defeating the Houston Astros 3-2 in a stunner of a World Series. And Espo and I have you covered. We'll recap the series that was in our final in-season weekly episode of Leading Off. Plus, we ring in the off-season with a special guest, Kyle Maslan of Tops. He joins us for the first time on the program to help us predict the destinations for the top free agents in baseball. Lastly, Kyle, Espo, and I will wrap things up with your fan-submitted questions tonight on Leading Off. Remix. We are live. This is the 29th episode of Leading Off, live from Studio 69 in New Jersey and REM Studio in Staten Island, New York, airing exclusively on Twitch and powered by StreamYard. And welcome back to the show on this Monday, November the 8th, 2021. I'm your host, Rich Rivera, and I'm being joined by the creator of the ESPO TD, even though we don't have it today, ESPO.
Thank you, Rich. It is always a pleasure to be leading off. Not quite our season finale. We do have our wrap-up episode coming next month. But how about those Braves, man? They finally got it done.
Those Braves. And
26 years in the making.
If cancel culture has their way, they'll ban you for just doing that tomahawk chop on my air. But that's all good. We support the chop. And congratulations to the Atlanta Braves, the 2021 World Series champions, as I mentioned in my open. It was definitely a surprise, to say the least, considering this team lost their superstar player midway through the year, Espo, and also one of their top pitchers done for the season, Mike Soroka. And this team was able to battle through all of that, make some key moves during their trade deadline, bringing in the guys like Jorge Soler and Jock Peterson to really help them get to this World Series, surprisingly, and win it. And beat a team that was heavily favored to not only get there, but win the whole damn thing. Congrats to the Braves.
Yeah, it's really an incredible run that the Braves were able to put together. I mean, after Acuna went down, everyone in baseball, ourselves included, thought that the Braves were probably done for and going to be selling once the deadline came. But like you said, they kind of went the opposite direction and got a whole bunch of guys that were crucial to that playoff run. Eddie Rosario, especially, NLCS MVP. That was a big one, but they got hot at the right time and they got it done. Kudos to them.
Kudos to them. And didn't you have a bet on them? I know you were betting on them to win, but did you have money involved on the Atlanta Braves?
Funny story, actually. So the day after my birthday, the Brooklyn Nets were leading their playoff series against the Milwaukee Bucks. The Mets were in first place and the Braves were in last. And me being the classic cynical fan that I am, I'm like, this is too good to be true. So I bet on the Milwaukee Bucks to win the NBA Finals, and I parlayed it with the Braves to win the World Series. And both kind of seemed like long shots at the time, and it was too good to be true because both teams did win. And though it was a bit of a letdown for my heart, my wallet was quite happy with the result.
Come on, Espo, can you tell us how much you won on this now? Come on.
On a $5 bet, I won $700.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. So that makes up for all the losses of the ESPO TD this season, and then some, I'd say.
You see, like, we love the gimmick that Espo brings to the ESPO TD because he's so wrong. But we never highlight when he is right, because he always bets on these games. And look at him cashing in $700 richer, well, $695 richer. But good for you, man. And congrats to you, and congrats to the Braves. Great win. But we move into the offseason, my friend. And before we get into our Ducks on the Pond, we'd like to remind you to download the Twitch app and subscribe to us to Leading Off _podcast. It's the easiest way to find out when we're live, when you get that notification on your iOS or Android device to let you know, hey, Leading Off is live, tune in. You get to click the link and you get to tune in and and then join us for a great show. And today is going to be a great show. Our final in-season episode of Leading Off. We start our off-season episodes next month, but I'll get into the details of that later on tonight. But let's get into Ducks on the Pond. It is our recurring segment every single episode as we get into the news and notes around the baseball world. We start in Boston with JD Martinez, who has decided to not opt out of his final year of his contract with Boston. So he's going to play out his last year with the Red Sox. And JD had a nice bounce back in 2021, hit 286 with 28 home runs and 99 RBIs. Also led the league in doubles as well. And he's going to make about $19.35 million in his final year, which is just sick that he's just going to make $19.35 million in 1 year. I'll never see that kind of money in a lifetime.
Must be nice.
Must be nice. But JD's sticking with Boston.
Yeah, honestly, it's maybe a little surprising that he decided to opt in for this final year because of the great year that he had this past season. I thought he would have used that, contract year, could have maybe gotten a pretty decent deal on the open market, but he is turning 34 next year, so I guess he wants to bank one more year of a nice annual value, and then hopefully have a great year next year, and then test free agency waters.
Yeah, stick with your comfort zone. And you listen, he didn't have the best of 2020s, but then again, 2020 is a kind of a weird year to judge how players are doing. But yeah, stick with your comfort zone. It will be interesting to see if this blocks the Red Sox or try to bring back Kyle Schwarber, because Martinez is kind of locked into that DH spot. So that'll be a question they're going to have to address this all season. But yeah, we'll cover that when that time comes. But JD sticking with the Red Sox. Our next note, the Hiroshima Carp of the Nippon Professional Baseball League will post Seiya Suzuki, who is an outfielder, to major league teams. So Suzuki will be the big free agent coming overseas. He hit 319, 38 homers, a big year for Suzuki in the Japan League. Don't really know who might be up for Suzuki. Interesting note, he does wear the number 51. So maybe another team that had a Suzuki that wore number 51 might be interested. But I have another outfielder that they may look into instead in our big segment tonight. But Seiya Suzuki coming to the States in 2022.
Yeah, Suzuki is one player that I hadn't heard too much about until recently when they decided to post him. But after looking at his stats, he's got a pretty impressive resume, and I think a lot of teams will be bidding for his services. One team I'm going to throw out there is the San Francisco Giants, actually. They do have a lot of money to spend this offseason. I don't think they're going to be bringing back Chris Bryant, so they're going to want to be spending on the offense. Buster Posey also retiring. That's a huge note.
Yes, big note.
So I think Suzuki could be a good fit in that offense.
And yeah, and almost a bad job by me to not include Buster Posey's retirement in our Ducks on the Pond, as that was a big news piece that came out of last week. Actually, kind of a surprise too. And now that we're going to touch on him for a little bit, but yeah, Buster Posey retiring at the age of 34. Obviously, it's a little different for catchers. 10 plus years. I mean, Yadier Molina is an anomaly, but 10 plus years as a catcher in the league, and for a guy like Posey who's been battling with injuries the last couple of years, monster, great comeback season for 2021. Calling it, that was a surprise.
Yeah, definitely a bit of a surprise. I mean, 34 years old, kind of relatively young to retire, but like you said, playing the catcher position, incredibly grueling. And we also can't forget he did suffer a pretty major injury several years ago in that horrific collision against the Marlins, which resulted in the Buster Posey rule coming to be in the MLB. Not too many guys get rules named after him.
Fucking Scott Cousins, motherfucker.
Yep, but hey, Buster Posey, hell of a career, and I think we may be seeing him inducted into Cooperstown in a few years' time.
Oh, I think so. I think it's going to be definitely a topic for a future show of Hall of Famers and who might be on the cusp in the coming years, and that could be actually a topic for our January off-season show when we're around the Hall of Fame vote time. So that will be a conversation for then. Our last note here: the MLB 2021 Gold Glove Award winners were announced on Sunday. I didn't see a bunch of the names. They actually did pop up now. I know Joey Gallo did win on behalf of the Yankees. The Cardinals set a record for most Gold Glove awards for a single team with 6. And Goldschmidt, Edman, Arenado, O'Neill, Bader. That's 6? No, that's 5. I can't count. So that's 5. But yeah, pretty wild stuff there for the Cardinals.
All I know is that my guy Taijuan Walker got robbed of the Gold Glove at pitcher.
Yes,
I think Fried ended up winning it.
Yes, he did.
And he had a great year in his own right. But I do believe that Taijuan Walker led the league for defensive runs saved as a pitcher, and classic
I heard
example
more.
of
I
the
felt like
voters
I
hating
heard
the Mets.
more issues with Met fans that Lindor didn't win the Gold Glove for shortstop. But then I'm looking
Yeah,
at Brandon Crawford. I'm like,
I
Crawford's really
mean,
good.
Lindor, I wouldn't be too upset with him not winning. He did miss a significant amount of time, so I think maybe that was a reason they held that against him. But I think we'll be seeing a couple more Gold Gloves for Mr. Lindor in the near future.
Yes, sir. The announced winners for the American League: Sean Murphy behind the plate, Yuli Gurriel at first, Marcus Semien, Matt Chapman at third, Carlos Correa, Andrew Benintendi, Michael A. Taylor, so 2 Royals in the outfield, Joey Gallo and Dallas Keuchel. The National League had Jacob Stallings, Paul Goldschmidt, Tommy Edman, Nolan Arenado, Brandon Crawford, Tyler O'Neill, Harrison Bader, Adam Duvall, and Max Fried. So nice representation by the Cardinals in the National League. And now, while we were preparing this show, MLB was announcing the finalists for the remaining awards. So I guess I could touch on that for a little bit.
Yeah.
For the Cy Young, the American League, Gerrit Cole, Lance Lynn, and Robbie Ray. I think when we did our predictions a couple of months ago, Espo, I think we both had Carlos Rodon in that 3. But it was his teammate, Lance Lynn, that edges him out in that 3rd spot. For the National League, Max Scherzer, Zach Wheeler, and Corbin Burns. No Walker Buehler.
Interesting.
Kind of comes at a surprise that he didn't make it there.
You know what other name I didn't hear there?
Kevin Gausman.
Jacob DeGrom.
Oh, well, come on, guy.
Pain is too raw, Rich.
God. MVPs, National League, Bryce Harper, Juan Soto, and Fernando Tatis Jr. Interesting, 3 teams that didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah, very interesting.
And for the American League, no surprise, Shohei Ohtani, Vladimir Guerrero, and Marcus Semien. So the Blue Jays have 2/3 of the top 3 finalists for the American League MVP.
How about Rookie of the Year? Did they have that or no?
Rookie of the Year is up too. Yes, sir.
Right.
Randy Rosarena, Wander Franco, Luis Garcia for the
No
AL.
Ryan Mountcastle? That is a crime.
Over Mountcastle, who you had winning the whole damn thing.
That is a shame to not even be a finalist.
National League, I think we were actually on the money, or you were on the money with Jonathan India, Trevor Rogers, Dylan Carlson.
Nice.
There you go. And those are your finalists for the awards just announced from MLB and now from Leading Off. And there you have it. Ducks on the Pond. Let's move on to our Twitters. Make sure to follow us at LOff Podcast for, again, all the news and notes surrounding our show. And that's the best way to keep up with our episodes. Obviously, we've gotten away from the Monday at 7 p.m. every week, and now we're going to be moving into the off season. So obviously the best way to get notified, besides following us on Twitch and subscribing to us on Twitch, is to also follow us on Twitter as well and be up to date on our schedule. You can follow Espo at
The Life of Espo,
who doesn't have an Espo pick of the day for the first time in forever because there's
no games. What am I going to do? What am I going
to?
I guess I'll bet on Monday Night Football.
No, not the show for it, but good luck with that, bud. And you can follow me at Rich J. Rivera, and I don't tweet. But another guy you could follow, it happens to be our special guest for tonight's show. He's our pinch hitter, if you like to call him that. You can follow him on Instagram at KMaz35. Our special guest graduated in 2019 from Boston College, where he was an on-air personality for WZBC Sports Radio 90.3 FM. He called BC Games and even hosted his own show at one point, Mondays with Maz. Our guest kicked around with the Somerset Patriots, the Steiner Sports, but currently works for the Topps Company and really cool stuff. He's a huge Yankee fan. He is Kyle Maslan, and he's going to join us tonight on Leading Off. What's up, Kyle?
I'm doing good. How are you doing, Rich? How you doing, Espo? Good to have. Happy to be here.
Absolutely. I'm happy to have you here, man. For those of you who don't know Kyle, but know me, I also have another show called Savage in the Bronx, our Yankee show with Tom Ospel. And Kyle was a great guest that we had on the show a couple months back. And we talked about his very awesome job. So now we're going to talk about his very awesome job in Leading Off. So Kyle, tell the folks what you do for the Topps Company.
Yeah, so I do a very important part in product development at Topps. For those who are listening, probably know baseball cards. So I go through, and the biggest part of my job is I select the imagery that goes on your cards. So, you search the databases, you figure out what players are being featured, and then you go and you figure out what card you want to be on what image you want to be on this player's card. Everything, 2022 Series 1, you pick big rookie cards. Wander Franco, Brandon Marsh, Vidal Brujan, Matt Manning, to go along with your usual big name stars. So, you go through and you think about, especially for the rookie cards, everyone knows the Mike Trout rookie card. Everyone knows the Derek Jeter rookie card. We'll wait and see if Wander Franco is going to join that League of Iconics. So you always have to keep that in mind when you're going through. So that's the biggest part of my job. I do a lot of other minutia in terms of making sure the backs are right, making sure the fronts look great, and just a couple other small things. But the coolest thing is picking the images that everyone's going to see printed however many times on every card.
Could you imagine that? I mean, that is just awesome. And I've been collecting baseball cards for a very long time, and just you never think about like, oh, what goes into making a baseball card. You think it's as simple as printing something and calling it a day. And there's a lot that goes into it, a lot of logistics that go into baseball cards. And Kyle is one of the big parts of why you see some of the guys on the cards you purchase in vending machines, at stores. So really cool stuff, Kyle. Now, while I have you on, I know a couple of months ago, it was announced that Fanatics was taking over the licensing from MLB PA. So just to get your thoughts on this, what does that mean for Topps when it comes to producing baseball cards in the future?
For that one, I'm keeping the company line. No comment.
No comment. Okay. All right. Then we'll keep that on down low. Maybe have to be a post-show conversation with Mr. Kyle. All right. Very cool stuff. But the reason why we have Kyle on, the big reason why, is we're going to talk about MLB free agency. And obviously, we are going to get into our off-season shows, our monthly off-season shows, that is very soon, starting in December around winter meetings. Espo's very pumped for that. He likes having the monthly schedule, don't you do? Oh, he's ready. Yes, he is. But we're going to get into the big free agents. Specifically, we have 10 here. So the three of us are going to predict where these top free agents are going. So we'll start with Kyle, then my co-host Espo, and then I'll wrap it up. So we're going to start things off. Our first player hitting the market here, Corey Seager. Obviously, Dodgers all throughout his entire career, left-handed hitting shortstop. We're about to venture into this unbelievable shortstop market in free agency, and Corey Seager is around the top of the class, not only for the shortstops, but overall. But Kyle, who do you have? Where do you have Kyle Seager? I fucking said it. I knew I was going to fuck it up. I said Kyle Seager, talking to Kyle, but I didn't mean Corey Seager's brother. All right. Where do you have Corey Seager headed this offseason?
I think Corey Seager, the key words, left-handed and shortstop. Rich, I think our favorite GM had those needs in mind. I think he's going to be trading in the Dodgers blue for the Yankees pinstripe, signing a 10-year mega deal. He'll play shortstop for 2 or 3 years. Volpe will come up, move Seager over to third, and Volpe then comes in, and Seager will play out the rest of his career as a third baseman for the Bronx Bombers as a left-handed middle-of-the-order bat. Now, if only we can figure out center field.
Yes, of course. Now, so you have Corey Seager eventually taking over for his brother Kyle Seager and playing third base, but for the Yankees, of course. That'd be a cool move. Now, Espo, where do you have Corey Seager landing?
I'm in agreement with Kyle here, not Corey, and saying that Corey will be heading to the Bronx. The dollar amount, I think, is going to be very substantial. I think it could cross the $300 million mark, but oh man, Seager has had a little bit of durability issues in the past, so I think for that reason he might not crack 300, but I could see him getting 250 mil easy, and I think Brian Cashman's going to be the one to do it.
I actually don't have Corey Seager going to the Yankees, believe it or not, and this is more of a just thinking on it more than wanting it. Do I want it? Fuck yeah, I do. Absolutely want Corey Seager.
You mean you don't want Glaber at shortstop again?
Do I? Oh, Gleyber Torres, great shortstop. Love him. Fantastic. We'll love to see him there 162 games. Come on. No, Corey Seager is going to the Los Angeles Angels. 10 years, $300 million. He's going to flip sides and play ball for Anaheim. I think the Angels have some kind of nucleus there. They have something there. They have some potential with that outfield of Adele and Marsh and hopefully a healthy Mike Trout. I think a shortstop is what they need to really wrap things up. They really do need pitching too. But Corey Seager adding another element to that offense would be deadly with hopefully Some positive remnants of Anthony Rendon that might kick around in 2022 and beyond. And obviously the MVP, Shohei Ohtani. Corey Seager to the Angels, a move I can see. And that's a team obviously willing to spend some dough. All right. So moving on. Our next guy, Nick Castellanos. Coming off the Cincinnati Reds, actually declined his option to become a free agent. Kyle, where is Nick Castellanos going?
He is finding a new home. The Reds are slashing payroll. They've gotten rid of Wade Miley and Tucker Barnhart, two legitimate starters, to save $17 million so far. And their owner is not going to pay Nick, but he's going to go to some friendly confines. He played there for half a season already. He likes the NL Central. He hits very well in the NL Central. And the Ricketts have a lot of money they need to spend.
Yes,
he is getting back to Chicago, and the friendly confines of Wrigley Field will be where Nick Castellanos calls home for the next, let's say, 3 years at $80 million for Nick Castellanos.
That's what you
to
agree.
Go be the face of the Cubs rebuild.
That's what you agree. Castellanos going back to the Cubbies.
I'm just reflecting on Castellanos' time as a Cub. I remember it fondly because I had him on my fantasy team, and he absolutely mashed in his half a season there. But
321, 16 homers to be exact. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that was great. But I think Castellanos is I think he's heading back to the American League. I think his defense is very subpar, so I'm not sure if his defense will play well in the years to come. So I'm going to say the Texas Rangers signed Nick Castellanos. It's a bit of a out of the blue pick because the Rangers aren't really contenders, but Nick Castellanos, he seems like a guy that would go for the money. You know, he's gonna hit bombs in Globe Life Park.
I mean, he's clearly going for the money. He declined his contract. So, yeah, he's obviously going for the money. He definitely wants to make more money. I also have him going to the American League, Espo, but I have him going to the Seattle Mariners. Okay, I did mention when we were talking about Seiya Suzuki of a possible outfielder that I could see going to Seattle, and I have Castellanos, a veteran joining that young core with Kelenic, yes, Jared Kelenic, and Julio Rodriguez, and Taylor Trammell out there, having that mix, but also he is a guy you can kick around to first base, which is a position that, you know, they're not necessarily strong in. He could be a designated hitter. I could also see a Nelson Cruz end up signing with Seattle and going back there, but I think that'd be a good fit for Castellanos. You know, get to that corner outfield spot, maybe transition to a first base DH spot, but you have that luxury. But yeah, Castellanos going to an American League team. I absolutely believe that. Next, we have a pitcher, potentially the American League Cy Young Award winner, Robbie Ray. Where do you see Kyle? Where do you see Robbie going there, Kyle?
You know, Robbie Ray's had a weird career. He started off hot, then became almost trash, just sent away at the deadline by Arizona a couple years ago, and he found himself again. And, you know, I feel like when you have that revitalization, you don't mess with it. Toronto Blue Jays are going to pay up, and they're going to bring their man back, and they're going to go for the competition and bring back Robbie Ray to headline with Hyun-Jin Ryu and Jose Barrios as they chase the Rays, the Yankees, and the Red Sox next year.
Espo.
I like it. Robbie Ray, amazing year for the Blue Jays. Renaissance campaign, likely Cy Young winner. I just think the Los Angeles Angels are going to get Robbie Ray this offseason. The Angels have needed starting pitching, frontline starting pitching for the longest time. They just absolutely cannot waste any more of Trout and Ohtani's prime. They have to get back to the playoffs. Robbie Ray, quite possibly the best starting pitcher on the free agent market. They got to write that man a blank check.
I'm actually going to be in agreement with Kyle on this one. I have Ray staying with the Blue Jays for 5 years, $125 million. Guy's going to get paid. I think this is going to be the big contract that the Blue Jays are going to end up paying. I think, and we'll get into him in a little bit, but I think the Blue Jays are going to end up missing on bringing back Marcus Semien because they should value bringing back the guy who's going to win the Cy Young this year in Robbie Ray. So I have Ray second with Toronto. Before I get into our next guy, who's Freddie Freeman, Corey Favs in our chat goes, the unknown of the DH will play a big role in the Castellanos market. If it goes to the NL, I see the Mets as a huge player. And and that's obviously a big element. And it may even be tough to predict these free agents going now, not knowing what's going to happen with the CBA. Hell, we should have even made the disclaimer of saying that there might not even be any fucking baseball next year. So these free agents could be a moot point to be predicting. But we're going with just in case there are games in 2022 and the players and the owners kiss and make up. But we'll find out. Freddie Freeman, who do you got, Kyle?
Everyone thinks Freddie's going to come back. And at the end of the day, I think he will come back to the reigning world champion Braves.
Oh, let's have some fun.
The Braves have never paid this much money for anybody. They've never ponied up for the big superstar outside of paying him when they're young, like Acuna, and getting him on a bargain. Watch out for the San Francisco Giants, who just freed up $22 million with Buster Posey's retirement. And if that happens, I could see a free agency trade almost. Brandon Belt moves across the coast to Atlanta, and Freddie Freeman gets 8 years and $260 million to go to the Bay Area.
Holy shit.
He's going to be 8 years, 240 to 260. Question is, does Atlanta pay up?
Good God. Good fucking God. All right, ESPO. Is Freeman staying in Atlanta or is he going elsewhere?
That is the question. Will Atlanta pay up? They normally don't, not in the past, but I think this is one guy. I mean, I said blank check with the last guy, but I really do mean it with the Braves and Freddie Freeman. What he has done for that franchise. I know that he's a first baseman, maybe a less than premium position, so that could be a factor. But ultimately, he's the heart and soul of this Braves team. That they have to bring him back.
Yes, I got him at 7 years and over 200 million at the least. Obviously, Kyle's got a big ball in a 240, 250 plus. But I think Freeman will take a bit of a discount to stay home in Atlanta. But again, the Braves also paying their star player $7 million a year to be a star player, even though he was hurt. But he's being a star player for $7 million a year. They have a contract in place like that so they can make a big money move on a guy like Freddie Freeman or a different free agent altogether. But yes, I see Freddie staying in Atlanta. But I love Kyle's fantasy baseball.
You never know. Also, watch out for Boston. If they let some other guys go, maybe. You never know.
Yes, absolutely. I like that. I like that move a lot. Not really. Max Scherzer. Now, obviously, Scherzer's kicked around a few teams already. Kicked in both leagues. Won Cy Youngs in both. Yeah, he did win Cy Youngs in both leagues, I believe. I don't know.
Correct. Yep.
I am correct. All right. I thought I was. I usually am. But Max Scherzer, will he stay put with the Dodgers or will he finish his career somewhere else? Kyle, what do you got?
He's going to stay in California, but he's moving down to Orange County. The Angels need pitching, and Artie Moreno loves his big names. Robbie Ray's not big enough a name for, I think, Moreno to get that star power, but Max Scherzer sure is. He's getting up there, but I saw Ken Rosenthal predicted, and I'm going to roll with this. 3 years, $150 million for Max Scherzer to go down to Orange County and try to get Ohtani and Trout into the playoffs. Because otherwise, Ohtani might go somewhere else to win because he's 28 and he doesn't want to stick around in losing teams forever.
All right.
That would be very spicy if the Angels are able to lure Scherzer from their crosstown rival. But ultimately, I think the Dodgers are going to keep Scherzer, especially after seeing them not extend the qualifying offer to Kershaw. I mean, maybe they're planning to move on from Kershaw, but I think they have to re-sign Scherzer just simply because of the fact that Trevor Bauer, I don't think he's ever going to pitch again for the Dodgers, and they need that frontline starter that the Dodgers do. Well, they have Walker Buehler, but as you know, you can never have enough frontline starting pitching. So Dodgers with their endless pockets, they're going to bring Max back.
Yeah, and I think there's going to be money to spend there when they do lose out on Corey Seager as well. I agree with you, Espo. Scherzer's going to stay put with the Dodgers. 2 years, $50 million, $25 million a year for an old Scherzer who's great. All right, let's go back to New York here. Javier Baez, boys. Javier Baez, of course, longtime Cub, traded to the Mets. Met fans hopeful that Baez may stay put in the orange and blue. Kyle, how do you feel about that?
I don't think it's going to happen. I think there are too many complicated factors with the Mets infield. $24 million screams Robinson Cano's name still. Jeff McNeil, JD Davis, Jonathan VR. There are too many, I think, variables currently there to pay $200+ million to a shortstop. But, I think there is a team that's willing to do that because they're going to lose their shortstop later this year, or later in this segment, I should say. And Javier Baez is going to go to the trash cans. Javier Baez is going to become the starting shortstop for the Houston Astros because they love guys who can just hit. And I think they have an approach where they might hopefully curtail him a little bit in terms of his able to take more walks. But he had spunk they're going to need to replace when Carlos Correa goes elsewhere. And I think that he's going to, have a little bit of a softer market. He's going to get a 5 or 6 year deal, which is where Houston wants to sit, 5 years, 120, something like that, to go to Houston. And remember, there's no income tax. So 120 goes a lot further in Houston than it does in New York.
All right. I like it. I'll tell you why in a little bit. Espo.
I'm thinking Javi Baez with that short porch in Houston. That's a recipe for 40 home runs plus.
Yes.
Especially with that swing. But maybe it's just me being hopeful, but I think the Mets are going to bring Javi back. I think there was a bit of controversy, of course, with the thumbs down moment and getting mad at the fans, but after that moment, he started raking, and once Lindor came back, they both seemed to really play off of each other's energy very well, and I think that chemistry is something I would like to see continue in New York, and I think it will, and I think if they can get him for around the neighborhood of 100 million, I would certainly sign up for that.
So this is now the first time we actually have an agreement on a new destination in this segment, because I'm with Kyle. I actually have Javier Baez going to Houston. 7 years, $155 million to be their shortstop over there. And again, they're going to have money to play around with. They are still going to be looking to replace Carlos Correa. They really don't have anybody set for that position in-house. So yes, they are going to hit that market. And I think Baez will be a guy that they're going to try to bring in once they lose out on Carlos Correa going elsewhere. And we'll keep you posted on where he goes. But we move on to Javier Baez's former teammate, Chris Bryant.
And Espo, here's where we're going to make your day. Chris Bryant is going to the New York Mets. Steve Cohen has money to burn. With that. And he has money to burn in the outfield where Chris Bryant can play. He can play third base. He can play left field. He can play right field. Conforto, gone. Dom Smith, first base. Alonso, DH. Left field's open. Right field's open. And Chris Bryant is a picture-perfect New York player. He has been in the spotlight ever since he was a 16-year-old in Nevada. I think Chris Bryant is going to be your cleanup hitter, protecting Pete Alonso for the next, let's say, 7 years and $175 million.
Let's go, Espo. See? We're sending Chris Bryant to the Mets. What do you got?
That would be it would be beautiful, but maybe it's just my Mets pessimism settling in, but
it's the Cohen era.
We went to Mets optimism to pessimism in just one day.
You know what? The Mets are still the Mets, okay? You could put lipstick on a pig, but anyways, I have Chris Bryant going to the NL East, but not to Queens, New York. I have him going down the turnpike to Philadelphia.
Ooh,
the Phillies.
My God.
They got some money to spend, all right?
Did you guys see McCutcheon left?
Alec Boehm play third base this past year for the Phillies?
I mean,
atrocious. Okay, absolute garbage. The Phillies, they want to make a splash. The Braves won the World Series. Bryce Harper getting paid big money. They're just tired with playing second fiddle. I think they're going to do it.
Oh yeah, I mean, can you imagine like a couple years ago the possibility of Bryce Harper and Chris Bryant being teammates?
The Nevada boys,
they're friends. And it wasn't for. That's a great point.
Oh my God, that's insane. All right, I have Chris Bryant going to the Mets as well. So once again, I'm with Kyle on this one. Yeah, Chris Bryant to the New York Metropolitans, 7 years, $140 million to fill in a bunch of roles. Obviously, third base has been a need as far as like a defensive stopgap over there. Outfield, obviously, he can answer the question where you can put him left. He showed in the playoffs and in the season with Giants that he can play center field with the greatest of ease as well. So Chris Bryant could answer a few questions for the Mets, and then obviously they need to make other moves to address other problems. But Chris Bryant, I think, would be the perfect fit. I think it would be a better fit for the New York Mets than it would than a Javier Baez would be, obviously. But yeah, Bryant to the Mets. I am definitely with Kyle on that. Now, Kevin Gausman, Chris Bryant's teammate, or soon to be former teammate, who knows? Kevin Gausman had a fantastic season with the Giants. He makes our top 10 free agent list that we're going to talk on. We have 3 more free agents to go through, including Gausman. So, Kyle, where is Kevin Gausman landing this offseason?
I've been getting exciting. I've been getting, he's going here, he's going there, something to think about. I'm going boring with Kevin Gausman. I think he returns to the Bay Area. Farhan Zaidi, he knows that he got lightning in a bottle. He wants to try to keep it going, and Gausman is such a key. Him and Logan Webb being able to be the forefront of the rotation, I think they pay up. Belt's gone, Posey's gone. Unless they pay up for Freddie Freeman, they got a ton of money to spend. I think they reward Gausman for his last 2 or 3 years of very, very good work at Oracle Park, and he will be back and starting opening day in San Francisco.
Excellent.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with Kyle here. I think Gausman's returning to the Giants. He's had a great last few seasons. This past season seemed like he was well, of course my King DeGrom, of course, R.I.P. But no, Gausman he was looking like a Cy Young frontrunner in the early part of this season. He did tail off a bit, but I do think that he's had success with the Giants, and they're going to want to continue that. Both sides are going to reunite.
Yeah, I agree with both you guys. Gausman staying put in San Francisco. I got him at 5 years, $100 million. 5 years, $100 million. I don't know why I said it like that. But yeah, Gausman staying put, staying in his comfort zone. I've said that a lot. I guess that's our buzzword today, comfort zone. But yeah, might as well continue his great success. Giants are going to pay him handsomely to stay put as the ace of that staff for years to come. And yeah, got Gausman staying put. We got 2 more to go. And we are going to go with an American League MVP finalist here, Marcus Semien. Marcus Semien had a great season with Toronto, obviously, just mentioned. Finalist, going to be there with Vladimir Guerrero and Shohei Ohtani up for the MVP nod this year. But Kyle, where is this potential American League MVP going?
I think he's staying in the American League. He showed some great versatility this year, playing both short and second. And, we go talk about super disappointing teams. We talk about the Padres and the Mets. But there's one team that I think was super disappointing that actually made the playoffs. And they just declined the option on their second baseman. And that'd be the Fighting Tony La Russas and the Chicago White Sox on the South Side. They have so much young talent. They have just this incredible amount of youth and just excitability where they should be competing for the World Championship every year. They should not be just getting in the playoffs because they're in a terrible division. They need to boost that lineup. And Semien plays a Gold Glove second base. He's going to hit 35 home runs, and he's going to go to Kaminsky. And him and Tim Anderson are going to be absolutely electric, especially with Nick Madrigal being traded at the deadline. They have a whole second base, and Semien will fill that perfectly. I think 4 years and $95 million. I think he's going to get his payday, and he's going to go to the South Side and come back to the States, come down from Canada.
And not to jump over ESPO, because I absolutely agree with Kyle, but I wanted to make the note that Cesar Hernandez had also had his option declined. So yes, there is a gaping hole at second base for the White Sox. So yeah, I actually do agree with you. I do have Marcus Semien going to Chicago as well. 6 years, $165 million. But ESPO, where do you have Mr. Semien going?
Would certainly be interesting to see Semien come back to the place where it all started. He was actually drafted by the White Sox way back in 2008. I think he was in that. What was that the Jeff Samardzija trade back 5 or 6 years ago? But I think Semien going to a place where there's another shortstop vacancy. Not Javi Baez filling this, but it's going to be Semien going to Houston. I think they're not going to re-sign Correa, so I think he'll be a very solid consolation prize.
Oh God. He actually, and now that I'm thinking about it, like he would definitely fit that Houston Astro mold of player and just be a guy that would absolutely kill the Yankees when it comes to playing in the American League Division or Championship Series. Good God, I could already see it.
I'm sorry put that horrible image in your head, Rich.
All right. Well, now speaking of Houston Astros, we're going to wrap it up then with Carlos Correa. Kyle, where is Carlos Correa going in this offseason?
I'm staying in the AL Central. Every bad team, when they start becoming good, they pay somebody. The Nationals did it with Jason Worth. The Padres did it with Eric Hosmer. And the Detroit Tigers are going to do it with Carlos Correa. And they're going to pay, 8 years, $240 million to have Carlos Correa be the centerpiece to this rebuild as the rotation fills out. They don't have a really great shortstop in the minor leagues. They have Torkelson at third or first. They have a couple outfielders with Riley Green. And they obviously have all the pitching in the world. But Willie Castro, Nico Goodrum, those are not shortstops that are going to get you anywhere near contention. Carlos Correa, AJ Hinch loved him.
Yeah,
and AJ Hinch is going to love him again for a long time.
I love it. Espo.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you there, Kyle. I think a lot of people have been on this Correa to Detroit hype train. I think it makes a lot of sense. Tigers, they weren't that bad last year, to be honest with you, and they have some pieces. So I think Correa could be the one to usher in an era of contention for them.
all this free agent talk of players going to certain teams, and the one team I didn't mention this entire time, and I kind of left this one at the end for a reason, was that Carlos Correa is going to the Yankees, boys. I love I could see it fucking happen. The Yankees, and is it something that like I'm pushing for? No, but guess what? At the same time, Carlos Correa knows how to fucking win, whether you hate him or love him. He knows how to win, and that's the guy the Yankees need. And listen, this would have to obviously mean that the Yankees would have to bring in a lefty like Anthony Rizzo back into the fold at first base. But Carlos Correa being that stopgap at shortstop, the defense that they've needed for years, ever since they let Didi Gregorius walk, they need that defense there at shortstop. They need a big-time bat. They need a clutch player. And yes, I would love to see a left-handed swinging Corey Seager play shortstop, but goddamn would I love to have a winner in Carlos Correa at shortstop. I love you hate the attitude, but you love it at the same time, because that's the sort of moxie that the evil empire desperately needs in 2022 and beyond. I have Carlos Correa going to the Yankees, 8 years, $275 million. There you have it, folks. 10 free agents, 10 predictions. Let's see how they go. I do love that we hit on a few of them. Now, Kyle, me and you had like 3 different destinations for players. And again, just now, Correa going to the Tigers between Espo and Kyle. Really good stuff. And that was awesome. And if you missed this episode, shame on you, but it will be on our YouTube page in the coming weeks. So make sure to follow us on YouTube and subscribe and share and tell all your friends that we're on YouTube. And that's how you catch all our full episodes. And that was great. And Kyle, you've been a great guest there. It was a pleasure having you on for this edition of Leading Off. We'll make sure to have you on for this show. And obviously, more Yankee shows, Savages in the Bronx. Of course, we'll get into the next episode of Savages in a little bit. And make sure to give Kyle a follow at KMaz on Instagram. Kyle, great having you on, bud. It really was a pleasure.
It was great being here. Great talking sports. Always great talking baseball. Working in baseball cards, 8 hours a day just isn't enough.
Of course, man. It was a pleasure as always. And we'll talk soon, Kyle. Enjoy the offseason.
Perfect. Have a great rest of the show, guys.
All righty, bud. Take care. Kyle Maslan. Again, give him a follow at KMaz35. Always a pleasure talking sports with Kyle at any opportunity that I have. But now we have him on Leading Off for future shows, which is all cool, which is good as well. All right. Whoa, there goes my camera. Holy shit. That's a first. All right, we're back.
We got a man down.
Okay. We are back now. All righty. We're going to wrap things up. Our final in-season episode of Leading Off with some fan-submitted questions. I did get a few submitted, which I'm going to read off here. Now, obviously, if you're in our Twitch chat, feel free to throw any questions toward Espo and I. So obviously, try to keep them baseball-related, but we'll answer anything. It doesn't really matter. So let's take a look at some of the questions that were sent to me earlier. Here we go. Which New York team is a better fit for a Verlander gamble? Obviously, we talked about our top 10 free agents, but we didn't talk about everybody. It's a great free agent class here, Espo. Justin Verlander, obviously, veteran pitcher, another player who knows how to win, a World Series champion in his own right, a Cy Young Award winner, multiple Cy Young Award winner at that. Justin Verlander coming off Tommy John, and where do you see him headed? Yankees or Mets, man? If you had to pick between the two.
And that's a great question. I think I could definitely see Verlander in pinstripes. I think he wants to win one more ring before he goes. And man, I hate to say it, but I think the Yankees are closer to winning a ring than the Mets are. Oh, I just said those words. I want to vomit, but it's true. And I think money is not really an issue for Justin Verlander at this point. He's made enough in his career, so I think the prestige of winning a title with the Yankees might be alluring to him.
I could agree with that. Yeah. Not biased at all. Not at all. Not one bit. Yeah, I could see that being a thing. Justin Verlander landed with the Yankees on a short term 1 year. I mean, like, what kind of contract would Verlander get here? Like, what, 1
20,
year?
25? I mean,
20 mil?
You can't give him more than 1 year at this point.
Right. I mean,
you're just taking a gamble.
Just off that cert. I don't know if you could take that gamble. It's going to have to be a Corey Kluber-like contract with just more money.
Right.
I think that's fair. I don't think Verlander deserves a 2-year contract elsewhere. But a 1-year deal for 20 to 25 million sounds fair enough. And yeah, the Yankees sound like a better team. I would bet would take a gamble on him. But we'll see, obviously, when we get closer. Interesting fucking question, but all right, we'll go with it because it's a baseball question. Which baseball player has the hottest wife? I mean, obviously, this is objective, and every wife is beautiful in their own way. But who, in your opinion, has the most beautiful wife in baseball?
I'm gonna let you go first, Rich. This gives
I
me
mean,
time to. Oh wait, no. What am I saying? Talk about the guy we just talked about, Justin Verlander, right? I mean,
oh,
he's
yeah.
got Kate Upton in the fold. That's
Are they married? I don't think they're married yet, right?
no, I think so. I think they have a kid. So good for Justin.
I don't really dive into baseball players' personal lives because I don't really care.
Not
But
really.
let's see, Verlander. What? I mean, obviously Verlander was still a Kate Upton. Yeah, they're married. They were married in 2017. Kids?
It's a slam dunk choice, in my opinion. I mean,
Yeah, they had a daughter. Look at
it
that.
checks out.
Look at that. Yeah, I mean, Kate Upton's an all-star pick right there. Cole Tucker is currently going out with Vanessa Hudgens. That's a pretty good pull for a D-level baseball player with the Pirates.
Right, Justin Verlander, A-list athlete, dating an A-list woman, but Cole Tucker, good.
I
for
got to
him.
give a nod
I
to
mean,
Garrett Cole, or Brandon Crawford's sister, but Amy Cole, a very attractive woman. I give him that. All time, I always thought like Mark Teixeira had a beautiful wife. Jorge Posada, Laura Posada's wife. Laura Posada. I thought she was very good looking. And who was another one? Chris Benson. Remember Chris Benson had like a crazy wife that was like just like an absolute scourge to the team.
Chris Benson's wife was a Playboy model, and one time at a Mets family Christmas outing, Chris Benson was dressed up as Santa, and she came up as one dressed up as Santa's little helpers, and she was
God,
like a provocative attire and just, LOL Mets.
Merry fucking Christmas, right?
Right?
Somebody threw at me Freddie Freeman's wife,
Mm-hmm.
who I didn't get a look of, but heard he has a very cute kid. I will tell him that. Like he always has the videos of the kid playing baseball, and
Charlie.
that kid's definitely got the Freddie Freeman genes. I'll tell you that. Yeah, she's an attractive wife. All right, yeah, good on baseball players. Just become a baseball player, and 9 out of 10 times you're gonna have a very, very attractive second other half. Good stuff. Great FSQ if there ever was one. Anything else that came in here? No, I have no other fan submitted questions. That's probably anything you wanted to bring up. Any good FSQs?
Well, Richard, this wasn't much of an FSQ because I'm not your biggest fan, actually. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
Just kidding. That was mean. But I'm curious to know your thoughts on a current, possibly former Met, one that I hope is not a former Met, but Marcus Stroman, definitely one of the top guys on the pitching market. Curious to know where you think he'll land.
Marcus Stroman. I actually saw one rumor that I kind of liked, and it definitely was not going back to the Mets. Houston. And I feel like Houston's been mentioned many times on tonight's show. But I do like the idea of him going to the Astros, kind of being that veteran pitcher around such youth. Obviously Luis Garcia and Framber Valdez and Jose Urquidy and Lance McCullers is all good, but they need that one. I feel like they need that one veteran guy that's really going to keep things together. And if they don't go with a big time name, Stroman's a good possibility I could see go over to Houston and be that kind of guy that brings all those pitchers together and say, hey, like this is the shit we do and this is how we do it. And that's a guy I could definitely see end up there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if he's quite a number one ace of the staff pitcher, but he's probably one of the better starting pitcher twos, better high end second starters in the league, and I think he'll probably be in the $100 million neighborhood. But I'd love to see the Mets bring him back, just because DeGrom 1 year older, and who knows what his health will be like. So
Right.
I think it would be great to have that stability in the rotation again.
Absolutely. Would like to see Stroman back in New York. He's definitely an energetic one, to say the least. I enjoy watching him. He's definitely one of my favorite pitchers just to watch on the mound. He's just so animated. So yeah, I definitely don't mind seeing him back here in New York and being that lively pitcher.
Stroman to the Yankees.
Well, he always been connected to the Yankees. Do I see the Yankees making a move for him? It'll be interesting because of the injury with Jameson Taillon, because I'm also that sort of Yankee fan who's cool with the pitching we have. But I think that injury with Taillon, I think you need to kind of go after and have like a 1 to 2 year kind of guy on the team. I don't know if Stroman's going to fit the bill there. Stroman's going to want more. They're definitely going to need a pitcher, though, that's going to help them kind of stabilize their rotation, at least get to the trade deadline with. But we'll see. We have a comment here in the chat. FSQ. All right, great. Over under 6 months for a finalized CBA. Not really a question, but more of a prediction. But what do you got? Over under 6 months for a finalized CBA. And they can Corey fast for that.
I'm going to say under 6 months. Maybe I'm just being too optimistic here, but I'm hopeful that the sides are going to come to a consensus before the beginning of next season. Maybe in a couple of months I'll sound like a fool and we'll be in a lockout, but I'm just really optimistic that won't be the case.
Corey just said, make that question an unofficial ESPO pick of the day.
There it is, the unofficial ESPO TV.
Unofficial ESPO. Exactly. There you go. Lock it in. Which means that since ESPO said it was less than 6 months, it's going to be a year. Yay!
Oh, no. Okay, I changed my mind. We're guaranteed to have a lockout.
ESPO, you dick. All right. Yeah, I actually will have them under 6 months as well. I definitely think there will be a lockout. I don't think it's going to go more than 6 months, though. That would just be outrageous. But also, hey, the owners and the players have been butting heads ever since really the beginning of COVID. And there's just so much shit that needs to be addressed with this fucking fucked game of baseball. And I think just under 6 months is a good prediction. I definitely think there will be a lockout, though. I definitely think there will be a lockout. But we will get into that and more. And if there's a lockout, I really don't know if there's going to be a leading off. So we'll keep you posted on everything as we get closer to that. But I will tell you, there will be Savages in the Bronx for next week for the Yankee fans who've missed Tom's beautiful face. We're going to be back next Monday for a brand new Savages in the Bronx. That's going to be episode number 27, I believe. I'm not really sure. But it'll be next Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern time, right here on Twitch for our first of 4 off-season episodes of Savages that we're going to do here. So our first one is going to be next Monday, November 15th. And we'll get into some of these early Yankee off-season chatter. We'll get into the coaches that have been let go and the awards that hopefully some of these Yankees can pull out and win. And we'll get into that next week and more, and obviously predict some of the moves the Yankees are going to make for this current off season. But that'll be next week, next Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Make sure to give us a follow at Savages Bronx. All right, we're going to end our show with the scheduling announcement, since we've kind of been doing this every single time we do a show because it's just been so crazy and unpredictable. But our next episode of Leading Off will be our first off-season episode, and that's going to take place on Tuesday, December the 14th at 7 p.m. Eastern time on Twitch. So we get knocked back down to our 7 o'clock time, but we're a day later. Tuesday, December the 14th at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern time on Twitch will be our next episode of Leading Off, and that will be our first monthly off-season show. And that's going to be right after the winter meetings. So we'll be able to recap some of the great moves that happened and talk about some of the winners or losers.
And hopefully the Mets will have a GM by then.
Have you applied yet? I think the job teamwork online now.
You know what? I think I saw a post on LinkedIn the other day. Let me throw my hat into the ring.
Bro, it's fucking ridiculous. And I'm actually surprised I wasn't an FSQ, but why can't the Mets fill these goddamn positions?
Fuck if I know, man. But it's going to get to a point where they're going to have to settle for someone. I mean, you got to hire someone, right? I mean,
right.
The Mets are still the Mets, man.
ESPO got to throw an application there. Hell, Kyle Maslan got to throw an application in there if he's not doing great things with Topps. But honestly, he's probably better off staying at Topps because they probably treat him better and pay him better. But anyway, that's our show for tonight. And that is our final in-season show. And just like that, we started this bad boy back in March, ESPO, episode number 1, not knowing what our expectations were going to be with the show. And we've certainly evolved since. It's been a great 30 episodes of in-season shows and covering baseball, but there's no more baseball to cover, which is sad. So we're going to have to take a break for a little bit, recalibrate the show, maybe add some new segments and get things going. But we'll see you guys in a month's time, December 14th, for our next episode, our first off-season episode of Leading Off. But I want to take actual time now to thank everybody who's been a part of our great show, all our fans, all our supporters, our chooches in the chat that Corey Favaloro likes to call. I like to thank great guests and guest hosts that we've had on this show, Corey Favs and Joe Puglisi and Kyle Maslan, who is our great guest today, and Joe Stern and Tom Waspel, who's hopped on this show multiple times. Chatters like Des Dutch and Expert FME that we've seen multiple times in our chat, and all the ball buster softball guys who love to join in and talk, and all the Yankee fan and Met fans that come in and talk with us, ESPO's family and friends that come in and talk, my family and friends that come and talk, everybody who supports the show, even for a half a second, even if it's just a follow on Twitter that they end up unfollowing the next day. I love it. I appreciate all of it. And ESPO, I want to thank you for being a great co-host for these 30 episodes and for this year. And we definitely had a lot of fun, a lot of good moments, a lot of bad moments, well, good moments as well. But good fun. And I always enjoy talking baseball. So it's all good.
Well said, my brother. It has been a hell of a ride this season, and I am looking forward to running it back next season, bigger and better than ever.
Let's go. Corey Fab says, I will miss you, gents, and we will miss you too, and we miss all you, but we'll see you here in a month. Again, Tuesday, December 14th, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, right here on Twitch. Our next episode, Leading Off, our first off-season episode of Leading Off. Enjoy. And by the way, have a happy Thanksgiving and take care.